This is the story of one of the greatest art heists in history. It was March 18th, 1990, when two men dressed as cops showed up at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. They told the guard that there had been a bomb threat and that they needed to check the building for any suspicious packages. The guard knew that this was bogus, but he also didn't want to risk anyone getting hurt, so he agreed to let them come in. Once inside, one of the perps flashed a real badge, while the other one kept scanning the room. The guard followed the cops as they made their way through the museum, but then the real cops were gone, and it was only now that the guard noticed that his gun had been taken. He tried to grab the perp, but he was too quick and got away. What had started out as a routine night had turned into a nightmare, and the guard quickly called for backup. But by the time the cops arrived, the thieves were gone, and with them 13 priceless pieces of art worth some $500 million. It was later found that the thieves had actually planned this heist for months in advance. They had studied the guard's schedule and knew that on the night of March, the coast would be clear. They disabled the alarm system, cut the phone lines, and even brought their own flashlights so that they would untrigger the motion sensor lights. They had come prepared and knew exactly what they were after. The FBI launched an investigation and soon had leads on who the mastermind behind the heist could be. One of the biggest suspects was a notorious art dealer named Miles J. Connolly. He had connections to the mob and was known to deal in stolen goods. However, despite having many leads and following many false trails, the FBI never caught Connolly or any of the other thieves. To this day, the case remains unsolved. Hey there! Welcome to my channel. Today we will take a look at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, one of the largest unsolved art mysteries of our time. We will discuss how the planning for the robbery took place over several months, how the thieves pulled off the perfect execution, and how the FBI has yet to recover any of the stolen paintings or catch any of the culprits. Now, before we get into the details, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all future videos. So let's jump right into it. In the early 1990s, Boston was a hotspot for art thieves. In fact, in 1990 alone, there were 4 major art heists in the city. So when the director of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heard about the increasing crime, she took action. She hired a security guard and installed state-of-the-art surveillance systems, including infrared beams, motion sensors, and cameras. But she probably could have saved her money, because none of those measures would stop the mastermind behind this heist. We'll call him Mastermind. Why? Because that's his name. He was a seasoned professional with a long history of pulling off successful robberies, and he had set his sights on the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Mastermind put together a crew of skilled accomplices who would help him pull off his most ambitious heist yet. There were 3 main members of the crew: Muscle, Brains, and the driver. Muscle was a large man with a shaved head and a criminal record. He was the muscle of the group and would be responsible for intimidating anyone who got in their way. Brains was a small man with a sharp face and an even sharper mind. He was the brains of the operation and would come up with creative ways to outsmart the police. The driver was quiet and reserved, but he was a skilled driver and getaway artist. Together, this crew would become one of the most infamous in history. Now, over the course of several months, the gang staked out the museum, observing the layout, studying the guards' routine, and learning everything they could about the security system. They knew that they would need to be prepared for every eventuality if they wanted to pull off this heist successfully. Finally, the night of March arrived. The crew got into position and began putting their plan into action. Muscle and Brains went to the front door, while the driver waited in the van around the corner. As the guard made his rounds, Muscle and Brains followed him, waiting for their chance to strike. When the opportunity presented itself, they pounced. They overpowered the guard, disarmed him, and tied him up. Then they covered him with one of the guard's sewn jackets and left him in the back room. With the coast clear, Brains and Muscle made their way through the museum, moving from room to room. They pried open the frames of the paintings they wanted, being careful not to damage them, and slid them out. They wrapped the paintings in blankets and loaded them into the van. By the time the police arrived, the van was long gone. The FBI was called in, and they soon had a few leads on who might be responsible. But unfortunately, these leads turned out to be dead ends. The gang had covered their tracks well, and there was very little physical evidence to go on. The FBI did, however, have one valuable piece of information: a blurry photo of the van that had been taken by one of the museum's security cameras. This photo was the only lead the FBI had to go on, and they followed up on every possible angle. They tracked the van to a garage in a nearby town where it had been abandoned. They searched the garage but found nothing. They interviewed everyone who had been near the museum that night, but no one had seen anything. The case went cold, and the FBI was forced to release the lead investigator. Over the years, the FBI has followed up on hundreds of leads in the Gardner case, but none of them have panned out. Many of the leads have been false or have led to dead ends. Others have been promising, but have ultimately gone nowhere. For example, in 2013, the FBI arrested a man named Miles J. Connolly Jr. on unrelated charges. They hoped that he might be able to provide information on the Gardner case, but he was unable to help them. Connolly Jr. was released from prison in 2016, and he remains a person of interest in the case. Despite all of the leads and false starts, the FBI has never given up hope of recovering the stolen paintings or catching the thieves. In recent years, they have ramped up their efforts and are offering a reward of up to $10 million for information leading to the recovery of the paintings. Now let's talk about the paintings themselves. The total value of the stolen paintings is estimated to be more than $500 million. Here are just a few of the most notable works that were stolen. First up is Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. This painting is one of Rembrandt's most famous works and is considered to be one of the greatest seascapes ever painted. It was completed in 1633 and depicts a storm on the Sea of Galilee with Jesus and his disciples in a boat. The painting is highly detailed and shows Rembrandt's mastery of light and shadow. It is also one of the most valuable paintings in the world, with an estimated value of more than $100 million. Another notable painting that was stolen is Vermeer's The Concert. This painting is one of Vermeer's most popular works and is considered to be one of the finest examples of Dutch Golden Age painting. It was completed around 1664 and depicts a group of musicians playing for an audience. The painting is known for its exquisite detail and its portrayal of music and movement. It is also one of the most valuable paintings in the world, with an estimated value of more than $200 million. So why haven't the FBI caught any of the thieves or recovered any of the paintings? One reason is that the thieves were highly organized and prepared. They had planned the heist for months in advance and knew the security system inside and out. They also had a variety of disguises and weapons, which allowed them to overpower the guard and escape undetected. Another reason is that the thieves were professional and efficient. They worked quickly and quietly, and they were able to steal 13 paintings in less than an hour without setting off any alarms or triggering any of the motion sensors. After the robbery, the thieves apparently split up and went into hiding. They may have even left the country, although this is pure speculation. After all, the FBI hasn't revealed any details about the progress of their investigation. Despite the many theories, the truth of what happened to the thieves and the paintings remains a mystery. There are many theories as to what happened to the thieves and the paintings. Some believe that the thieves are dead and that the paintings were lost forever. Others believe that the paintings are still in a secret location and that the thieves will one day try to sell them on the black market. However, there is no evidence to support any of these theories. In conclusion, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist was one of the greatest art heists in history. A highly skilled crew of thieves stole 13 priceless paintings worth more than $500 million. Despite the best efforts of the FBI, the paintings have never been recovered, and the thieves have never been caught. The case remains unsolved, and the mystery of what happened to the paintings continues to fascinate people around the world. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.